Radio Raheem here with Abel Sanchez. First of all, thank you for showing up for this fight week. We always love to see the stars pop out.
Well, actually, I have a fight tomorrow.
You have the fight on the 4th.
Yes, I have Alex Acedo fighting tomorrow night, so that's why we're here. We just came out for the press conference, but the weigh-in's tonight, so just walking around.
Well, I was hoping that we'd be able to discuss another fight that would be coming up, but we don't have an opponent for Triple G yet. Everybody was looking for December, thought that would be the time. So much has been in the press and social media about how and why this thing hasn't happened. First of all, why no Danny Jacobs, and will we get Triple G before the end of the year?
No, definitely Triple G will not fight before the end of the year. He's in camp, but he's not scheduled, so it's too close to the end of the year to make a fight and promote it and move it the way that it should be. We hope to fight him the first quarter of 17. Hopefully it's Jacobs, but for some reason they're having some issues with the negotiations and what Danny thinks that he should be paid. Until that's ironed out with Al and with Danny and with Tom, we won't know if it will be Jacobs, but we do hope that he fights in the first quarter of 17.
We know that you want to keep Triple G busy. You said, after the Kell Brook fight that you wanted one more fight this year. Since it's not happening, is it kind of a welcomed little hiatus? Is there some benefit to him taking this break?
Well, for me, no, because I have eight other guys in the gym. For him, for Gennady, he's in camp. He's training. He's been training since not this Monday, but last Monday, helping the guys in the gym and doing the things that everybody does. He's not sparring, but he's training. So I don't think he needs a hiatus. I don't think he needs a rest. He doesn't seem to think so. So as far as Danny is concerned, Danny, unfortunately for us, it's a mandatory, so we can't go in a different direction. We have to get that ironed out, and we have to, because he obviously doesn't want to get stripped of his title that he worked so hard to get. So we have to wait for either Danny decides not to fight and the WBA accepts that, but until then, Danny is the priority because he is the mandatory.
Do you think the negotiations are hung up? Is it really just a money thing? Does Danny want the fight as much as he claims to? It seems like every time Triple G fights, as soon as it's done, Danny screams that he wants to fight, and then for one reason or another, we can't get there.
I don't know. I'm not in part of the negotiations, but a couple months before our fight with Kell Brook, Danny, or even a month, Danny came on social media or on a YouTube thing and said he had this perfect number in his head that he wanted to get paid to have that fight. Maybe that perfect number is not something that's reasonable, maybe not something that's available. So that could be it. I read that Andre Rozier wanted a 12-week training camp, and he wasn't going to have it, so maybe that's the reason. I honestly don't know. I'm not there, but I would hope that when people talk, they're willing to back it up.
What about Saunders? He's a big talker too.
Well, Saunders has got I thought he had a fight, but he got hurt, right? So, but the biggest issue he's going to have is that Canelo's moving up the ladder to number 1, 2 in his WBO thing. So he may have two big guns coming at him with Canelo and Golovkin. So he's going to have to do something eventually.
A couple of weeks from now, right here in Las Vegas, we're going to see Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. You being trainer of the year, have made some comments since then that have got social media worked up. Explain to us what you feel like your connection is with Kovalev and how much credit you deserve for what he's been able to accomplish so far.
It's not the credit that I deserve because he became champion without me. Although I had him for 8 fights or 7 fights with 7 knockouts, I had him after the Darnell Boone fight where he was basically beat, as a lot of people say. But I think the confidence in what we give him in our gym and the style that he's developed in our gym has taken him a long way. Obviously, John David Jackson's been working with him for a while, but as you've heard Sergey say himself, that he learned all that. All he does, he learned it in the streets. He learned it in Chelyabinsk, where he's from. So maybe none of us have done anything for him. But I know that I did have him for about a year and 3 or 4 months. 7 fights, 7 knockouts, and when I asked him to leave, I wished him all the luck in the world, and I told him he was going to be a world champion because he had those qualities to be a world champion.
So you asked him to leave. Why'd you ask him to leave?
Some personal issues that I just didn't think that he could be guided. I didn't think that. I think that Sergey has a mind of his own. Sergey is a very strong-willed. Sergey is a very smart guy. And I didn't think that he could be guided. And really, it's not about the money for me. I knew that he was going to be world champion. I want to have fun when I go to my gym. I want to have guys that, even if it's a guy that's got a lot of losses, I want to have a guy that's at least I get to teach, I get to work, and I get to teach. And I didn't think that Sergey could be guided like that. So better somebody else do it than me. I could stay home.
Obviously, this Ward fight is going to be a challenge technically, if nothing else, and there'll probably be many other challenges involved. So if you were able to guide him, if you were able to use the experience you've had with him to tell him how to face an Andre Ward type of opponent, Andre Ward himself, what would you tell Kovalev?
Well, first of all, I think we have to understand that Sergey is a mean guy. He wants to hurt you. Sergey is the kind of guy that is going to find a way. He's a street guy. He's a guy that very smart when it comes to that. And I think that if he fights Andre like he fought Hopkins, I think that he beats him easily. I don't think that he's going to. I think he's a better fighter, not a better technician, not a better craftsman, a better fighter where he wants to fight. He's actually in a street fight. And I think if he does that and if he fights him like Hopkins, he doesn't let Andre get close. Andre's a talented fighter. I don't think he's back from where he was when he won the Super 6. I think that he needed a little more, but I know Virgil's going to have him ready. And but if Sergey lets Andre get close and do his thing, it's going to be a difficult night. But if he's smart, and I know that he is, Sergey is, he'll keep him on the outside. He won't let Andre do his thing if he wants to win.
You think John David Jackson has his ear in that way and can guide him in a way that you thought you couldn't?
Well, he's a 3-time world champion. If he doesn't, then there's something wrong. I'm sure that John is telling him the right things. John is a very talented trainer. That Sergey listens, that's the other thing. But John can only do so much. We as coaches can only do so much. Our charges have got to listen to us.
And lastly, let me get your prediction on a fight that's going to be right after that, which we're going to have Lomachenko and Walters, again, right here in Vegas. Most people don't know, like outside the boxing world, how great a fight that is. We know. How do you see that fight breaking down?
I think the biggest issue with that fight will be how depleted Walters is from the weight loss. He's never been one to be really dedicated, keeping his weight down. So if he doesn't keep his weight down and is not able to go the 12 rounds at the same pace, then Lomachenko's going to have a great night. He's a great fighter to begin with, but if the other guy is not 100% there, then it's an easy fight for Lomachenko.
Since we won't see Triple G until the end of the year, you're our update. How are his spirits after having really injured a guy, being Kell Brook with the eye socket and whatnot? You never know how that affects fighters. How does he absorb stuff like that? Is it something that makes him hungrier? Like, does he check on Kell Brook? Can you talk to us about that kind of response?
No, really, he doesn't. He went away for until last Monday when he came back to camp, and his spirits are great. He knows that we in the gym, our gym has 2 very important fights coming up with Ruiz and Gassiev. So he's in the gym coaching, he's in the gym helping the guys, he's in the gym imparting some of the knowledge that he has. And I step back sometimes and just allow him to do that because it's really cohesive in there. It's more of a team environment, and the fact that he comes back to camp without a fight is something to say about Golovkin's mentality as far as when it comes to this sport. He wants to fight, but he can't force somebody to get in the ring with him.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Canelo Alvarez possibility. Obviously, a lot of this has been played out in the public, which is not as common. Usually that leaks. It seems like they're putting it out on purpose, talking about they're willing to give you a flat fee. You've been in this sport a long time. Is that as disrespectful as it sounds? And how do you receive their approach to Canelo Triple G?
And it's like you asking me how much money I made last year. You know, I me asking you how much money you made last year. I think that's something, what they eventually make, both of them, doesn't matter to us, doesn't matter to you. What should be that it matters to them and they're satisfied with what they make. That is discussed in the social media aspect of it. I think it's disrespectful to both guys. I think that those guys need, the IRS probably should be the only one that knows how much money they make. So yeah, I thought it was a little disrespectful. Fortunately, now it's not being discussed. Now they're talking behind closed doors, and even Oscar said that they were talking behind closed doors. Hopefully, it gets done for all of us. I think it's a kind of fight that we have 2 and 3 of those. Canelo's a very good fighter. Canelo should give Triple G that test that everybody's looking for that nobody has yet. And if it does happen, I think that we'll be treated to a lot of rounds of back and forth, toe-to-toe. I'm not gonna say a slugfest, but very technical, where they're hitting each other, and the guy that is better prepared, I think, is gonna win. I don't think it's a blowout for Golovkin. I think it's a very, very good fight, and Golovkin thinks so also.
Radio Raheem with Trainer of the Year, Abel Sanchez. Always a pleasure. Thank you for the time and the candor. Radio Raheem, Abel Sanchez.